Welcome to this presentation on microplastic in Sri Lanka. Today I'm explaining the occurrence, how they accumulate, pollutant levels, and the impact on our environmental and health. When we consider the talk about the microplastic, as you everybody know, microplastic are small plastic particles less than 5 mm size. They come from either primary or secondary source. Primary means during the manufacturing process or production process, it releases some smaller microplastics to the environment. And also secondary process means they are a breakdown of the larger in-use plastic related materials. It found in all over the places such as water, soil, air, and biota. When you consider the source of microplastic is normally originated from domestic applications, such as when you use cosmetic in your faces, it contains some amount of microplastic and detergent powders. It releases microplastic to the environment. And the industrial application, during the process of plastic pellets, plastic packaging, and other materials using plastic materials, it releases to the microplastic to the environment. The environmental degradation of plastic when after using the microplastic materials, we dump into the environment. After it breaks down to small particles, then end up with the microplastics. Understand these source help focus on our effort to pollutant control. The other important thing is how we detect and analyze microplastic in our environment. There are several techniques, methods available for analysis and detect microplastic environment. Especially we use FTIR, Raman spectroscopic techniques, and SCM for the particle identification. Sri Lanka, we need to have improved local capability for reliable analysis. There are some dedicated laboratory facilities for microplastic analysis. There are specific dedicated microplastic analysis laboratory. However, Sri Lanka, we don't have this kind of laboratory facility for the microplastic analysis. When you talk about the microplastic in the global context, it's already found in ocean, river, lakes, soil, and other things. Especially, we detect some very remote locations such as Arctic ice in mountain snows, transboundary movement through the ocean currents. It's caused to the spread all over the world. Compared with its pollution source, we can find it somewhere more than 1,000 kilometers away. Due to their small size, it can easily travel across our ecosystem. Why we need to focus on Sri Lanka? As you know, Sri Lanka is an island nation. Sri Lanka heavily rely on coastal ecosystem and freshwater ecosystem. The increasing use of the and insufficient waste management of plastics is considered as the growing threat to our environment, especially fishes and biodiversity. Because Sri Lanka is one of the biodiversity hotspot, then this releasing microplastic to the environment can affect the environment. When you talk about the microplastic pollution, normally we consider two environmental system. First one is the marine microplastic pollution. Other second one is freshwater microplastic pollution. When you consider the marine microplastic pollutions, researchers found microplastic presence in the beaches around Nigemburg, Old, Trincomalee, and other area. I think all can remember 4 years before there's a express ship accident. It released tons of plastic to the environment, ocean, then finally end up with the beaches. It caused huge environmental pollution. And commonly microplastic found in beach sediment and seawater. When you talk about the freshwater system, it's reported in Kalani River, Mahavali River. Those two rivers are mainly people depend on the drinking water facility. Here you can see images. These two images were taken at the end of the last March. This is Candy Lake. You can clearly see how it's polluted with the plastic waste. So these available treatment methods are not sufficient to remove the microplastic presence in the water. Therefore, we need to focus, we need to prevent microplastic release into the freshwater system. Here, I would like to talk about one case study. This was conducted at how the wastewater treatment facility can remove microplastic in the wastewater. Every one of the Kandy City wastewater treatment plant that's located at Ganda Bay, and it's treated wastewater from sewage and other wastewater come from the homes. The treated wastewater directly sent to the Mahavali River. As everybody know, next to the effluent, there's an intake for water intake for the drinking water treatment plant. These are the observation. We found that different types of microplastic in influent and also the effluent. According to the observation, the waste treatment facility cannot remove all the microplastic. At the end, there are some amount of microplastic reached to the Mahavir River through the effluent. When you talk about the microplastic in soil and agriculture system, microplastic enter the soil through wastewater, compost, and atmospheric fallouts. To the understanding of Sri Lanka, this could impact our crop safety and long-term soil health. We don't have long-term study about microplastic presence in the soil, and we don't know how it can affect our crop safety and human health. Another part is atmospheric microplastic. The airborne particles containing microplastics have been detected in urban area like Colombo and Kandy. This inhalation of these such particles poses potential risk to the respiratory health. This is another case study that was conducted at Colombo, Kandy, and Kurunegala area. In this study, we measure the amount of atmospheric microplastic presence in those areas. According to our findings, we found that high level of microplastic presence in the Colombo area due to the traffic, industrial, and poor waste dumping. In Kandy area, we found that high amount of microplastic is mainly due to the terrain trap, because Kandy city is surrounded with high mountain range. All the in-kind microplastics trap into the Kandy city area. These are some plastic that we observe. According to these are the distribution pattern of the model data. It shows that the red in color area is highly vulnerable and it has high amount of microplastic. The other important thing is bioaccumulation in the marine organism. According to the research study, we found that fish, shrimps, and other seafood items containing high amount of microplastic, and it risks to enter the human via the food chain. This could affect the both marine health and the human nutrition. This is happened through the trophic transfer. Once microplastic enter the organism, they can move up to the food chain, affecting the predators and finally human. This process we call is a trophic transfer, and it has serious ecological implications. Few years before, Italian team found that presence of the microplastic in breast milk. So we can understand how it can affect to human health. Also, microplastics have high ability to absorb other pollutants, such as heavy metals, organic pesticides, and antimicrobial resistant bacteria and other pathogens. That this means they are not just harmful themselves, but also it carries of other environmental toxins that can also enter the human body through the food chain, and it could cause several health effects. When you consider the health risks to the human, the exposure through the investigation and inhalation may lead to the inflammation, hormonal disruption, oxidative stress, and other several health issues. There's a no long-term impact. We didn't have idea about the long-term impact of this microplastic. So still researchers conducting research. However, we need to have long-term study to understand the harmful of this microplastic. When you consider the current research in Sri Lanka, there are limited studies published in the environmental occurrence, and especially collaboration with the universities, NGOs, and other people, it helps us to build data of the microplastic pollution in our country. Then we can clearly understand level of the microplastic pollution in Sri Lanka. There are some other studies already conducted in the microplastic in Sri Lankan beaches. Sampling from the Mount Lavinia, Unawatuna, and Arugambia found that a lot of microplastic presence in the beach. It also found that the high level of microplastic during the tourist season and the monsoon season. Other important thing is the legislative and policy landscape. Sri Lanka, we already have plastic ban in place, but there are no specific laws targeting microplastics. So we need to have strengthening policies and implementations are very much critical. Yeah, we develop some training need assessments for the people who working with the microplastic related research. When you consider the global best practices, Countries like European Union already have banned microbeads and implementation monitoring protocols. They already monitoring presence of the microplastic environment. The Sri Lanka can adopt and localize such prevent methods. And Sri Lanka can also use river trapping and filtration techniques, which already practiced in other countries, to reduce of the releasing plastic to the environment. Without public awareness and education, we cannot succeed this reduction of the microplastic to the environment. Therefore, we have to have education campaigns, citizen science, like a citizen science initiative, and school programs. It will empower the community to take part of the our research, and they will help us to reduce microplastic pollution. These are some recommendations that we can suggest. Is first thing is the strengthen research and monitoring, and also we can ban the primary microplastic used for industrial application and improve the waste segregation and recycling. At the end, microplastics are significant environmental and public health concern for Sri Lanka. The combination of the research, policy, awareness is needed to address this challenge effectively. Thank you.